In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Google Invisible reCAPTCHA in your lead forms to help protect your form from fraud and abuse without creating any friction. So the very first thing that you're going to need is a Google reCAPTCHA site key. So to get your site key, head on over to google.com/reCAPTCHA. I'll drop this link in the Help Center documentation over at getleadforms.com. You'll probably land on a page that looks somewhat like this. Next, click on V3 Admin Console. Once you do that, you'll land on a page like this. Now pay very close attention because there's a couple of key settings that we need to configure to get this to work properly. So the first thing that we'll need to do is set a label. I would just make it your exact domain. I'm going to use a domain that I own. The next thing to do, and this is key, is we'll need to set the reCAPTCHA type. So if you're using Get Lead Forms, choose Challenge V2. And upon selecting Challenge V2, two options will appear. Choose Invisible reCAPTCHA Badge. This will set reCAPTCHA so it works in the background and does not cause friction with users who are not malicious or trying to abuse your forms. After you choose Challenge V2 and the Invisible reCAPTCHA Badge, the next thing that you need to do is white label the domains where you would like this to work. So I'm just going to do that real quick. I believe you can choose more than one domain by clicking the plus button there. Next, there's this Google Cloud Platform. I'm actually not too sure what this does, so I'm just going to skip this. And then make sure you read their terms and conditions, and then agree if you agree and click Submit. So you'll see it didn't submit for me because I had two domains and one wasn't filled out. So I just removed one of the domains and now I'll try to submit again. And just like that, I have created my Google reCAPTCHA site key. So you're going to see two keys here. One is the site key and one is the secret key. We are going to need to copy the site key. Do not copy the secret key. This is more for server-side integration. We need client-side integration. So just copy this key and store it somewhere. You can also get back to it. And then if you want to check out how it works and some of the analytics, you can click Go to Analytics here. And this will take you to a page, and as your reCAPTCHA is triggered, you'll start to get some data back in this section, which is pretty cool, and you can go in and check it out. If you ever need to get back to your site key, just make sure you have your domain set up or your domain right here, and then click on this little gear icon. This brings you back to your settings that you can adjust, and then you can get to your site key by clicking on reCAPTCHA keys right here, and this expands the keys. So again, copy your site key. Now we need to add reCAPTCHA to your form, and this is just a two-step process in Get Lead Forms. So go on over to your form. Here's a form that I have set up, and go to Settings. So the first thing that we need to do is add your site key. So in Settings, go to where you see reCAPTCHA. Expand this section, and in the reCAPTCHA site key field, paste in that site key that you just copied. Again, the site key is this one. It's not the secret key. If you use the secret key, then this will not work. So make sure you use the site key. Click Save Changes. And now your site key has been added. The final step is to go to a contact step in your form. Now this is just a single step form, but in the case of a multi-step form with many steps, I would recommend going to the last step in your form where you're looking to capture contact form information like an email address or a name or a phone number. In this case, I'm just going to click on contact form, and then on the left-hand side, I'm going to scroll down and you'll see Invisible reCAPTCHA, and I'll enable it and click Save. And now it's set up. So if I don't want reCAPTCHA to show up on the step, I could disable it and click Save, and it will not work. So the main thing is having the site key in there so it can communicate back to Google to begin with. Then you need to make sure you enable or disable this field, depending on if you want it to work or not. Now, let's say you do enable the field. The one thing to keep in mind is when you initially test it, you may not trigger the reCAPTCHA box because Google may not flag you as being a spam bot or a malicious individual. The way to trigger it is to continue to test it. You may have to submit the form like 10 times on your own domain. So that is how you get it set up. If you run into any problems, just let me know. Thank you.